Alright, here's our game plan for today. We'll be covering national and state engagements, polity and governance, public health data, tracing Assam's history, and finishing up with international geopolitics.
Starting things off with Section 1, National and State Engagements.
Grab your notebooks for General Studies Paper 5, guys, because you'll definitely want to jot this down. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has been incredibly busy accelerating the state's development journey. He recently held highly targeted strategic discussions with 4 major union ministers in Delhi. We're talking about Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, External Affairs Minister S.J. Shankar, Ports and Shipping Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, and Railway and IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. These were absolutely not just courtesy calls.
What's really fascinating here is how clearly this illustrates the state's massive dual strategy. It's like two sides of the same coin. On one hand, you have this huge push to transform Assam into a formidable defense manufacturing hub, which includes plans to actually organize expos for defense PSUs and private industries right in the state. And on the flip side, Assam is aggressively positioning itself as the critical linchpin for India's Act East policy. The discussions with the External Affairs Minister were all about navigating current geopolitical headwinds to seriously level up trade, tourism, and diplomatic ties with Southeast Asia. It is a very deliberate, two-pronged approach.
And the momentum doesn't stop there. Building on those meetings, the IT and Railway Minister confirmed a pipeline of massive infrastructure projects. The big one, the highly anticipated Jaggi Road semiconductor plant, is actually on track to start production within this very financial year. That's huge! Plus, the NILET Center is gearing up to train our local youth in semiconductor manufacturing. Add in a staggering 1,300+ kilometers of railway track expansion and the redevelopment of over 50 Amrit Bharat stations. I mean, we are literally seeing Viksit Assam in motion.
Moving right along to Section 2, Polity and Governance Updates.
Okay, pop quiz. The magic number here is 19. Let's lock this into our brains right now. 19 is the absolute maximum number of ministers that are constitutionally allowed in the Assam Council of Ministers. And yes, that includes the Chief Minister. So why are we talking about this today? Well, there are currently 14 vacancies ahead of a planned expansion set for June 5. Understanding these strict constitutional caps is a classic, non-negotiable requirement for the polity section of your prelims.
Meanwhile, the Election Commission is rolling up its sleeves. They've officially launched the enumeration phase of the Special Intensive Revision, or the SIR, for electoral rolls. You'll want to note the specific states covered in this phase: Mizoram, Sikkim, Odisha, and Manipur. This is a massive, vital democratic exercise targeting over 3.67 crore electors. For those of you tracking civic administration details, remember that June 28 is the absolute hard deadline for Form 6 submissions for draft inclusion.
Next up is Section 3, Public Health Data Insights.
Now, this next piece of data from the NFHS 6 is, honestly, it's a huge wake-up call. The survey has flagged a massive surge in cesarean section deliveries across Assam. Historically, C-sections were relatively rare, right? They were mostly reserved for complex medical emergencies. But today, this skyrocketing trend absolutely demands that we look beyond just clinical necessities. It highlights deep structural issues within our healthcare system that you, as future administrators, are going to have to tackle head-on.
When we break down the data, the contrast is just wild. Look at this. Urban government hospitals sit at a manageable 29%, but private hospitals in urban areas, they are reporting a staggering 85.1% C-section rate. Even rural private hospitals are hovering way up at 80.2%. To put that into perspective, the national rate in places like England is roughly 45%. This massive disparity between public and private facilities in Assam is a glaring red flag for public health policymakers.
So what's really going on here? If you're tackling a mains question on healthcare administration, you absolutely must cite these non-clinical factors. This surge isn't just about complicated pregnancies. It's driven by a whole web of issues. We're seeing doctors' fears over potential litigation, the pure convenience of scheduling for healthcare providers, and let's be real, clear financial motivations, with some private hospitals charging over ₹1,00,000. There's also an issue of reduced proficiency among newer doctors in assisted vaginal births. Add to that a growing patient preference for scheduled, pain-avoidant deliveries. All of these factors together are heavily skewing the data and having a real impact on maternal health.
All right, let's switch gears to Section 4, Tracing Assam's History.
Guys, this timeline is absolute prelims gold. You need to lock this chronology into your memory right now. The political history of ancient Kamrup kicks off in the 4th century with Pushyavarman's Varman dynasty.
Then we flow into the 7th to 9th centuries with the Mleccha dynasty, established by Salastamba. By the 10th century, we see the Pala dynasty founded by Brahmapala. And finally, this entire era culminates in the 13th century with the decisive arrival of Swargdayo Chalung Sukapa, who established the mighty Ahom kingdom. Memorize this sequence. It is a foundational pillar for your state history questions.
And history isn't just something stuck in the past, right? To see how this ancient foundation builds into modern cultural diplomacy, consider this. Anthropologists from Bangkok's Silpakorn University recently visited Havabong. For context, Havabong was the second capital of the Ahom kingdom. These Thai scholars are actively engaging with local committees there to promote the Thai language and cultural research. It's just a brilliant, real-world example of that living historical bridge between Assam and Southeast Asia, tying right back perfectly into the Act East policy we discussed earlier.
Finally, let's zoom out for Section 5, International Geopolitical Shifts.
Over in Eastern Europe, the dynamics on the ground are shifting significantly. Ukraine is escalating its tactics, intensifying drone strikes aimed specifically at crippling Russian energy infrastructure. They've successfully hit oil refineries and fuel storage facilities in the Rostov and Saratov regions, arguing that this energy sector directly bankrolls the invasion. At the same time, Kyiv has completely denied Russian claims that a Ukrainian drone struck the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. It's a stark reminder of the intense information warfare happening right alongside the kinetic conflict.
Meanwhile, the US and Iran are engaged in this incredibly delicate diplomatic dance. The US administration is reporting that it's close to a conditional nuclear deal with Iran. Essentially, the US is utilizing its military and economic leverage to demand strict, absolute non-proliferation. It's a very high-stakes negotiation, desperately trying to balance the threat of further escalation with the hope of a stabilizing long-term agreement.
And it all boils down to this pivotal point: verifiable non-proliferation. As the US president stated, quote, "So now it says we will not develop or in any way purchase a military weapon. That's a big difference." This explicit guarantee is the anchor of the potential deal. The goal is to avoid any further military confrontation in an already super volatile region. And remember, the success or failure of these talks will send shockwaves through global energy markets that India relies on heavily.
Wrapping up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a synthesis question to get your gears turning for your next essay practice. Think about everything we've connected today, from the Chief Minister's strategic defense and infrastructure meetings to those Thai scholars visiting ancient Habung. Here is the question: how will Assam's modern governance strategies, specifically its integration into the Act East policy, breathe new life into its ancient cultural roots? I highly encourage you to map out an answer to this tonight. Keep studying smart, stay relentlessly focused on that syllabus, and I'll see you in the next explainer.